Alejandro Werner, Director of the Western Hemisphere Department at the IMF. Thank you for joining us. Today we're discussing your latest regional economic outlook for Latin America and the Caribbean. So what is the outlook for the countries in the region for this year?
We're projecting a rate of growth of 0.9% for all of Latin America and the Caribbean. This is the lowest rate of growth for the region in the last 14 years, if we take away a very low growth during the global financial crisis. So the region has been slowing down. South America has been working through the decline in the terms of trade, first metals, agricultural goods, and since the second half of 2014, oil. And in Central America, the Caribbean and Mexico, some important benefits coming from the recovery in the US, the decline in oil prices for those oil importing countries, but overall the region is going through a tough period and is working through it.
The US Fed is expected to raise interest rate this year. How concerned are you about the impact of higher interest rates in the US for Latin America?
The Fed has communicated its policy intentions very, very clearly. Markets have been following these communications and are anticipating the lift-off in the near future. And Latin America has built important buffers in international reserves, capital ratios in the banking system in general are relatively good. So countries with good fundamentals, abundant liquidity in international reserves and solid financial systems should be able, in case a spark of volatility happens, to manage it, but we need to follow it closely, and countries should need to continue building resilience to the extent that they can, for the eventuality that the lift-off in the US comes with an important bout of volatility as we saw in the summer of 2013.
How about long-term growth for the region? How's that shaping up for Latin America and the Caribbean?
Okay, on the one hand, we are expecting a recovery in growth in 2016 as the economies in South America work through the important impacts of the decline in the price of commodities, and then having worked through their main policies to accommodate to the new environment, investment, exports, etc., start to pick up in 2016, and this pull consumption and unemployment. And on the other hand, as the US economy accelerations continues to gain speed, we will see the economies in Central America, Mexico, and the Caribbean continue to accelerate.
So what can countries in the region do to counter this downward revision for the long-term growth, and what are the specific measures that policymakers should be looking at?
They have to focus a lot on structural issues. They have to focus on boosting infrastructure, they have to focus on improving their education, the rule of law, they have to boost and improve the efficiency of their judicial systems and the business environment in general. And they have to look for new sources of growth, tend to help to diversify their economies and to break out of this historical problem that Latin America has had of low investment, low total factor productivity, because in the future the external environment will not be as favorable, and therefore the sources of growth should be much more homegrown, and therefore structural issues are key.
Alejandro Werner, thank you very much.
Thanks.